So this Tellervo tutorial is going to take you through the steps for importing existing data files into your Tellervo database. So if you've seen the export tutorial, you will have heard that importing and exporting of data is handled using the Tricycle library. So that means that we have automatic access to the 22 data formats supported by Tricycle. So we have two main methods for importing data. This tutorial is going to concentrate on the first simpler stage, which just is concentrating on purely bringing in the pure data itself rather than metadata. This is perhaps the most common use for these data files. So the vast majority of these data files don't have a great deal of metadata associated with them. Some of them are data only anyway. But this import data menu entry here is used for bringing in your data. So you basically just need to pick the format that your file is in. I'm going to go ahead and pick Heidelberg. Then you can go ahead and pick your file. So that brings the data from that data file directly into the standard data entry screen within Tellervo. You'll see it's brought in. It knows it's managed to work out the measuring units, and it also knows the basic dating information for this series. If, for instance, your data file does not specify measuring units, or they're not standardized within the file, it will ask you at this point, what units the data is being provided in. But apart from this, it's not bringing in any additional metadata. So you'll see if we go to this metadata tab, none of the main the entity values on the left here have been populated. And we need to go through and manually specify these ourselves now. So the first thing to do is to set which object this series is from. So I know that this file is from representing this ABC site, so I pick choose. I know that it's tree 1 from that site, and I know it's the first sample from that site. So you see we're just picking the entries that are already existing in the database. So any metadata that's already in the database will automatically be pulled through for that series. If any of these entries are missing from your database, you can go ahead and use this screen to fill that in. So, for instance, if this was actually for a new series, for a new sample, we could go ahead and click New here instead, and then we would need to then go through and fill in all the information, all the metadata for this series. And of course, if you've just entered a new sample, there won't obviously be any radii associated with that sample already. So we'd need to go and do the same again for the radius. The series information, the title for that is pre-populated from the data file, but again you can override that as you see fit for your to fit with your naming conventions. So once you've filled out all your metadata, you can go ahead and press the Save Changes button. And to actually save the file into the database, you then need to go to the Save Document button. And that's done it. That's stored now into the database. So one other aspect to show you with this. So a number of the data formats supported can contain multiple series within the same file. So again, if we this time we pick Heidelberg, but we pick a stacked file, so a file containing multiple series. This time it will go ahead and bring in each of these separate series into a separate editor window. And again, you'll then need to go through and populate the metadata yourself for each of these series. So you can see that if you've got many series, this is actually a relatively time-consuming. Although quite a simple way of doing it, it can be quite time-consuming. So if you've got 100 series from the same object, having to select the object for each of these series, can become quite tedious. So one other option we have that we've been working on is a different screen, which can be accessed from the import data and metadata entry. Now this is a much more complicated interface, and it's still very much a sort of work in progress. So I'm not going to go through in any more much detail with this screen, other than to show you it here now. I will update this tutorial as and when I feel the interface is now secure and solid and ready to use. But just to sort of quickly go over it, basically it gives you a full sort of TRIDOS representation of the data within the file. So you can see here it has all the separate entities that it's managed to extract from the file, and it gives you an idea of all the work that still needs to be done to fit this information together. But it means, so for instance, that when you've got multiple series all represented by the same object, we can go ahead and merge those objects into one object in this representation, and we only need set the information about this object just the once, so it's saving you time and effort. And it's also bringing in what metadata it can, any descriptions, any comments and stuff from the data file wherever it's possible. And it also gives you a view of the original data file, so if you're sort of trying to work out some of the information, you can go back to the original data file. So you can see here the original raw data file from that we brought in, and it also gives you a quick way of just checking that it's managed to pull in the data correctly as well. So as I say, this tutorial will get updated as and when we have this interface securely completed. So please keep an eye on the website, and I'll be sending out notifications as well. Thank you very much.